terrified, saying, "It is a ghost." And they cried out in fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them and said, "Take heart, it is I. Do not be afraid." Peter answered him, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water," he said. "Come." So Peter got out of the boat, started walking on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he noticed the strong wind, he became frightened, and beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me." Jesus immediately reached out his hand and caught him, saying to him, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" When they got into the boat, the wind ceased, and those in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." This is the word of the Lord.
Amen.
Good morning. My name is Hiland. I'm going to be speaking for you this morning, just kind of on the passage and over what Gwen was talking about. But a little bit about myself first. I'm technically a junior here at the university, but I went through a couple different majors. So I'm a sophomore in the nursing program here, so I'm going to be going for my victory lap, so 5 years, which I'm pretty pumped about. On top of that, I'm also an RA in East Hall. I'm the president of the United Methodist Student Association. I'm a mentor for our women's mentoring group, Salt and Light, and then I also get to work in the chapel as the communications intern. So that's why I get to give announcements each day, and then also if you see Twitter and Facebook, sometimes that's me posting. Really quick, I'm just going to give a prayer over this message, and then we'll dive into it. So you could bow your heads with me. Dear Lord, I just thank you so much for every single person in this room, Lord. And I just pray that you can come in and speak through me, Lord, and just speak to their hearts and let them hear what you need them to hear this morning, Lord. I just pray that this message can bless each of us and that we can have a great morning together. And I pray, amen. So first, as we get started, you're probably wondering as you walked in why I got some feet. And we're going to get to that a little bit later, but I want to just say something funny that's been happening within our chapel. So for the past 2 weeks, if you've been here, our last 2 messages have had something to do with feet. So one week Jeremiah talked about not despising the foot, and last week Emily gave us a wonderful message about putting feet to our faith. And then this is what I had planned to speak about before I even heard what the other 2 were speaking about. So when Jeremiah was talking, he said we can never talk about feet enough, and we need to talk more about feet. But I promise if you hate feet, this is the last message. My best friend hates feet, so it gets her queasy when we talk about them. But I can assure you, this is the last week we're going to talk about feet in a little bit while. So just stay with me just for one more, and then we'll be good to go. So the passage we read from Matthew is one that when I think about, this is something that was taught to me going through the church my whole life. And when I was a kid, I saw it acted out on stage. When I was in youth group, I saw it and heard it being talked about. And then now sitting in a congregation, it's something that they continue to preach on. If you haven't heard it, we're going to go back and summarize because I know it's a lot to take in. So first, there were Jesus' disciples, and they were all chilling on a boat, hanging out with each other. And all of a sudden, they see this ghost-like figure walking on the water coming towards the boat. Well, then plot twist, that ghost-like figure turns out to be Jesus. So then Peter's sitting in the boat, and he's like, all right, we'll see if this guy's really Jesus. So he challenges him to tell him to step out of the boat. And so Jesus is like, all right, fine, come out of the boat. And the crazy thing that happens is Peter actually takes the step out of the boat. Well, then once Peter realizes what he's doing and that he's actually walking on water, he freaks out, right? And he starts to drown. But then Jesus pulls him up and uses the phrase, "You have little faith," telling him, you didn't believe that I was going to let you walk on this water. And so then Peter and Jesus return to the boat, and all the disciples, they claim, okay, this is the true Son of God. So that's great. When I heard this story growing up and being in church, the part that was always focused on was the "you of little faith" part. The part of, if you don't trust Jesus, you are going to drown, but if you can trust in him, he's always going to pull you out of any situation. Which is true and a good point. But I want to take a little bit of a different approach on this story. So first, I want us to put ourselves in Peter's shoes. So being in the boat, and all of a sudden this ghost-like figure comes up. Okay, I get scared super duper easy. Aaron scared me this morning stepping up behind me to ask me a question. I wasn't ready for him there, and literally had a little heart attack. So if I see this ghost-like figure, I'm going to be the first one standing up, we got to go, we got to row away. I am not staying here to let this ghost-like thing come towards my boat. But they all stayed, and then the ghost-like figure who claims to be Jesus says, get out of the boat. I'm okay, I have a boat right here, I have something to put my feet on, no way am I taking this step out of this boat. But the crazy thing that happens is that Peter actually does, and he trusts in God enough to take that first step. I can only imagine that when Peter was doing this, he was going little by little, okay, I'm going to put one toe, now the whole, okay, we're on the water. But the payoff from him taking that step out of the boat was absolutely incredible. He trusted Jesus to guide his next steps, and he took that step of faith out onto the water. So from this, am I asking you all to go get in a boat boat, go out to the middle of a pond and say, all right, Jesus, I'm trusting you, and just start taking steps on water. No, absolutely not. You'll probably get really soaking wet. But that's okay. What I am saying is that as Christians, it's time for us to start taking our steps of faith. Peter took that step having absolutely no idea what was going to happen in the next few moments. He just had to look at that one decision and decide to go and commit whatever was going to happen after to Jesus. So how does this apply to us where we are now? I think we live in a culture where everything is looking forward to the future. No one's focused on the current moment and what's going on in the current moment. They're focused on the days, the weeks, the months, even the years ahead. No one's living where we are now. For anyone in college, you probably know this all too well. How many of you have had this conversation in the last 3 weeks? Oh, hey, what's your major? And you go ahead and tell them what your major is, and they say, oh, what do you plan to do with that after school? You just started college, and you're like, I have no idea, actually. I just picked something I liked. So everyone is putting the stress on you to know what you want to do with your time over the next 4 years, and then even what life looks like after that. For me, this is something I'm not currently dealing with, but all of my best friends are seniors, so for them, they're looking forward to not what's going on tomorrow, but what's going to happen for the next 2 or 3 years after school. For anyone just generally living life, you know this as well. Sometimes you have to watch what you spend to make sure you have money to pay that bill in the next week. You have to schedule that doctor's appointment for the next month to check something that may seem a little abnormal. For some of you, if you're anything like my family with 2 kids in college, you have to plan the family calendar all the way out to Christmas just to make sure you're still getting some family time in. But what I want to do this morning is I want to challenge that way of thinking. I want to challenge the way of thinking always into the future. What if instead of thinking so far into the future, we solely focused on the next step? What if we had a Peter-like attitude and took a step of faith, knowing that Jesus is going to direct our path after that step? So maybe for you that means following your calling and walking to the registrar's office to change your major, not actually knowing what the future may hold. Maybe that means not worrying about where you're going to grad school or what you're going to study when you get there, but just simply getting your applications in. Maybe it means deciding to apply for that new job, not knowing if the possibility even is really there or what can happen once you do get that job. Maybe, like it did for Gwen, it means deciding to go on an 11-month mission trip, not knowing where that may even lead her. For me, this meant changing my major. Like I said, I'm on my 3rd major now, to my parents' dismay. That's okay, we'll get there. But since 2nd grade, I wanted to be a special education teacher. When I was growing up, there was no other game but school. For Christmas, I got school supplies to play my game of school. And if I was not the teacher, I was not playing. Then when I came to college, I started my education classes, and my feelings started to change on what I felt like I saw myself doing. So after my freshman year, scared to death, I walked into the registrar's office and took the step to switch my major to religion, not really sure where that was going to lead me. The calling I felt that was in my life was to be a youth minister and run a youth ministry in a church. But religion is especially scary, especially for women to try to get involved in. And as I was starting my classes in ministry, I just didn't really feel called there either. I feel definitely led to be in a church, but not necessarily making that my career. So then I started to realize this isn't where God wants me either. So scared to death again, and literally so scared, I brought a friend with me so I wouldn't chicken out. I walked back to the registrar's office and switched my major to nursing, not really knowing where that could lead me either. Nursing was never really on my radar. Through high school, people were saying, you should look at nursing, and I'm like, nope, I know what I want to do, thanks though. My parents are saying, hey, you should look at nursing. Nope, I know what I want to do, thanks though. But so this is different. I never thought of doing a scientific major and being in a nursing program. But now that I'm in the major and starting my classes, I know that this is where God intended for me all along. My step that I took is paying off. There's absolutely nothing else I can imagine myself doing than caring for and loving on people every single day. Yes, it takes a lot of work. Yes, it's hard, but it definitely doesn't feel like work to me now. So whatever this means to you, you should take the step. It's going to be scary, and you're most likely going to be scared and almost backed out. Gwen said that too. And trust me, I'm no pro at this. If anybody likes to stay in their comfort zone, it's definitely me. I have to be pushed on out of my comfort zone to extend myself. Or in your boat, comfort boat, if you'd like to think it as that if you're in Peter's shoes. But if you're going to take that step, it's going to pay off. When you take that step, you have to commit it to Christ. You have to know and have faith that no matter what may come, no matter the highs and lows, God is guiding those steps that are to follow. But he can't do any work in our lives until we take that step. God is going to be our biggest cheerleader, and he might be cheering for you so loud, just take the step, take the step, take the step, watch what I can do. But until you actually take that step, he can't do any work there. You have to take it. One warning, it may be shaky. Like we saw in the passage with Peter, he started to sink. He started to feel overwhelmed, and he started to go down. He started to doubt himself and started to lose his faith that it wouldn't quite work out. That was right where he started to sink. But Jesus was right there, ready to pull him out and put him right back on track. And the same is true in your lives. If you start to shake, if you start to feel like you're going under the waves, Jesus is right there, ready to pull you out and guide your steps. It's nice to have a comfort zone. It's nice to be in one. But think of how nice the payoff may be, stepping out of that and seeing what God can really do. You can't think about the future and what's to come. You have to have faith, take that step, and watch what amazing places God can lead you to. Now we're going to see from Gwen where her step led her to.
Traveled to 9 countries, and I still have 2 more countries to go to, and it's been just unbelievable. Honestly, like words sometimes can't even explain it. Just how incredible it has been. The Lord has shown up in ways of providing water when we don't have any, providing shelter when we need it. I've seen healings.